very great event took place 2.5 hours ago. An event that has having already a great impact. What happened? The sun went down. A very great event. But modern man doesn't care. Right? Who cares? Who pays attention to what is really important? But that's life. A Jew davens Maariv. You know what that is, right? What do we say in Maariv? Asher bidvaro. How does it go? Maariv. B'chokhmah poteach sharim u'mishaneh. Changes times. U'machlevet hazmanim. Because God is present in time. If you want to search for God, don't necessarily go to the peak of a mountain or to the depths of a forest. Just ponder the moment in the mystery of time. So I say to you that the real piety of a Jew is related to his sensitivity of time. Every moment is holy, and therefore it calls upon us to respond to it the way it really is. It's so marvelous to be alive. It's such a joy to be a contemporary of God. But very few of us pay attention to it, right? That's the meaning of existence, to be aware of one's being a contemporary of God. And every moment is an opportunity, an endless opportunity, to do the good, to accomplish, and to be creative. Now, I promised to be brief, and I am just being the very opposite. Please forgive me. But now I'd better come back to my subject. My subject is, what is the spirit of Judaism? Is there a word that could convey its full meaning? There's possibly such a word, and I'm beginning to make a suggestion in this direction. It's not my final answer. The word Shabbat may hold the key to what is the spirit and spirituality of Judaism. What is Shabbat? Here I would like to make a proposal to you. I'd like to have this as a campaign meeting and ask you for contributions. All right? Do you mind? But not contributions in terms of money. I'd like you to make a contribution in terms of thought, of meditation, of inner life. If you want to be a Jew, make contributions. Not only for charity and for Israel. Make contributions in terms of inwardness. Do something with your inner life. The first appeal I am making now is for contributions in terms of inner life on the Sabbath. Sabbath lasts about 24 hours. Don't let it pass by. Think about it. What is the Sabbath? It's first of all the presence of holiness and time. Respond to time and its deeper meaning. There's a whole series of thoughts connected with the Sabbath. Unfortunately, we have been used to an image of the Sabbath which is very negative. You understand what I mean? Restrictions from all sides. While the affirmations have been neglected and forgotten. Right? There are two justifications for the idea of the Sabbath in the Ten Commandments, according to the two versions, one in Exodus and one in Deuteronomy. One is to remember that God created the world, remembrance of creation. And we say it in the Kiddush. Can you remind me where it occurs in the Kiddush? Zecher l'maseh bereishis. I just mentioned to you that we entered an evening. It's a very great thing. It's our ongoing creation. There's the mystery of being, to which we pay no attention. 6 days a week we are busy exploiting the works of creation. Who has time to think of the cosmos, or the stars, or the endlessness of space, or the beauty and creativity found within the world and nature? We have no time even to enjoy it. We are so busy exploiting it, right? We have no time for joy because we are so preoccupied with pleasure. Pleasure and joy are not the same. The Sabbath is a day to think about creation. We are too busy to raise our eyes. But there is no way to understand the meaning of Judaism without lifting our eyes. Lift up your eyes. Think a little bit higher than the usual categories which you use daily. The Shabbat is Zecher L'Maseh Bereshit. The second is Zecher L'Yetziat Mitzrayim. Remember, we have always been slaves. It's very vital. We have been slaves once in Egypt. Liberty cannot survive unless it is cherished as a great surprise, as something we must fight for. Something we must fight for. One of the outstanding differences between being in Israel and being in America is in America people are complacent. They take what they have for granted. In Israel they're excited. They appreciate every tree and every flower. There's surprise. Therefore there's creativity and there's joy. Here we are fat and complacent. I don't mean here in Canada. I'm speaking coming from the United States. Canada may be different. Now, I once published a book under the title The Insecurity of Freedom. Freedom is not secure. It has to be kept alive. We have to remember that slavery is a possibility, that fascism and reaction and destruction are threatening us all the time. The Sabbath is a day to remind us how to cherish freedom. Freedom has many meanings and on many levels, which I don't have to analyze now. The Sabbath has meaning on many levels. I'll only give you an example. 6 days a week, we are involved in a struggle with our fellow men, and a struggle with nature. The Sabbath is a day of armistice in all our conflicts. Sabbath is a day in which we are different. You know, Sabbath has many meanings. In ancient antiquity, the Roman writers used to poke fun at the Jews. They would call them a lazy people. We heard such a thing. A rest day once a week, they don't work. It was unknown to the world. Until Philo wrote an explanation of the meaning of the Sabbath. He said, the Sabbath is so important, just as a person who is active in sports needs rest in order to resume his sports activities, so everybody needs a rest in order to resume his work. So the Sabbath is a day of rest. That's the explanation given by Philo. True as it is a terribly dangerous distortion. While the Sabbath is a rest, it's much more than a rest. What is so tremendously bold about the Sabbath is its central idea, that the Sabbath is not for the sake of the 6 days. The 6 days are for the sake of the Sabbath. In other words, our entire technical civilization has a higher meaning. The Sabbath is not for the sake of our technological civilization. It's the other way around. In fact, I would define Judaism as the art of surpassing, of transcending technological civilization. The Sabbath is a day in which we live without money, for example. All right? I don't deny the tremendous importance of the Sabbath as a day of rest, of course. I would like to suggest that the Jews who have made many contributions to medicine, their greatest contribution to medicine is the Sabbath. Some years ago I was invited to speak to the annual convention of the American Medical Association in San Francisco. There I had the audacity of advancing a medical theory of my own. Do you mind if I repeat it here? Now, I'd like to start with another word. There is a word that I may use in good company. You will not be offended by my using that word. It's the English word success. Success. You know the word success. It's not a dirty word. It's a very dangerous word. It's a very dangerous word because you see, success is a very good thing. But my theory is, as I told the Medical Association, is that more people die of success than of cancer. Because success is very difficult to measure. How much success? The more success you have, the more success you desire. It's like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. Now, my personal situation is I am also concerned with success. Who isn't? 6 days a week I'm worried about success. The tragedy of success is you never know whether you have success or you don't have success. How should I know whether I have success? 6 days a week I don't know. I'm a good teacher, poor teacher, good scholar, poor scholar. How should I know? What my friends tell me I cannot believe. And what those say who are not my friends I never listen to. So how can I find out? So I'm terribly upset. Am I a success or am I a failure? Shabbat is a day on which I live without success. So I don't success. After all, it does nowhere in the Torah said that you should be a success. Sometimes I wonder whether the Ribbon Shalom was such a success in creating man. So it's not a commandment to be successful. You follow me? And although I say it so glibly, there is some very serious meaning to it. Now, the extraordinary meaning of the Sabbath is inexhaustible. In fact, I have in my life studied a great many ideas that have come down to us from past generations. I know very few ideas of such tremendous significance for both personal and social existence as the idea of the Sabbath. Let me give you one example. I could go on for hours, but I promise to be brief. I still haven't kept my promise. We have a tremendous dislocation because of the special situation in the world. But one of the great problems that has come up in sociology is the problem of leisure time. What do you do with leisure time? 2 generations ago, people would work 6 days a week or even 7 days a week, 8 hours, 10 hours a day. And very soon with automation and computers, we will not have to work so hard, right? Everybody will go to his office, spend an hour and a half a day, 3 days a week, and get a fine salary. That's dreadful, isn't it? There will not be enough saloons in America. What do you do with time? What do you do with time? I would like to suggest that the first man who thought about the problem, what to do with leisure time, was Moshe Rabbeinu. The Shabbat is the leisure time. And you know, we had an old tradition of keeping the seventh day holy, right? And you all remember, you heard about your grandfathers. What did your grandfathers always do on Shabbat? You know, should I tell you? They would get drunk, right? Would get to the saloon. Am I correct? I'm wrong. Thank you for telling me, for straightening me out. No, this is a major issue. Leisure time. What to do with time? I would like to tell you that this is a major religious issue in Judaism. What do you do with time? Now, for example, why did you come here this evening altogether? You know, there's so many marvelous ways of wasting time. You thought, hopefully, you were hopeful and suggested if you came here, you might learn something about Judaism, right? Your assumption is you had an answer to the question, what to do with time. May I tell you that this is the central question in Jewish existence? What shall I do about time? Time is holy. Time is life, right? I'm ready to give away anything, but not time, because time is my very life. What is time? Time is not space. Life is not space. Time, life is time, right? Now in America, I hope not in Canada, there is a term called to kill time. Did you hear it here too? But if time is life, then to kill time is murder. It's a desiccation. I repeat that Judaism is ultimately the sanctification of time. Take a moment and make it holy. All right? Now, I could go on and tell you that that from the point of view of Judaism, Jewish living, the Shabbat is the most important thing. It's the source of all our religious and spiritual experience. This is what keeps the Jews together, keeps Jews as Jews. You know, many sociologists are full of admiration for the Jewish family, right? What's the secret of the Jewish family? The furniture? What is the secret of the Jewish family? The furniture in the home? Or the bar? No. It's Shabbos. Shabbos is what keeps the Jewish family. Let me make very clear to you, I'm not here to suggest to you that everybody should be very strict and 100% restrictive. I don't mean this. I mean the very opposite. But what I mean is supposed to set aside one day, a major part of a day every week, for fellowship, for family, for Judaism, for spiritual experience, for friendship. You know, lately I have noticed a very strange phenomenon. We have no friends anymore. We have business associates. Because what is friendship? Friendship comes about by sharing moments, by sharing time together. But we have no time. Time goes into space, right? Time has to go to business. Shabbat should be a day for friendship, a very noble form of human relationship. There are many things of tremendous importance. I repeat, I came here tonight on a campaign to ask you for contributions. These contributions make an inner life. If Shabbos is not observed inwardly, spiritually, if you don't give moments of your inner life attention to it within, then of course it will not be the Sabbath. No. Some years ago I had lunch with one of my publishers, and a very nice, very fine man, and we are very good friends, and he had several cocktails, was in a good mood, and suddenly he turns to me, "Why don't you write a novel?" Novel, it's a very good idea. You know, my books are in the field of philosophy. If I wrote a novel, more people would read my book, no? What do you think? Should I write a novel? I said, I'll think it over. So I went home and started to think about writing a novel. That's a very good idea. A novel is beautiful, narrative, imaginative. Started to figure out things, a little drama, a little event, some adventures, very nice. Then it dawned upon me that you can't have a novel today without a love story, right? Who's going to read it if you don't have a love story? Now, to invent a love story is very difficult today, because so many excellent love stories have been told. How can you find a new love story? So I started to think about a great love story, and it dawned upon me, I came up with a tremendous love story, kind of love story which is without parallel. A whole people in love with a day. The Jewish people for 3,000 years just in love with the Shabbos. They love it, particularly the women, how they love the day. And the future of Judaism in America is certainly in the hands of the women. It is the woman who creates the spirit in the family, who makes the Sabbath, who determines the education and character of the children. What is really a home? A home is not just four walls and a roof, it is the spirit of a mother. What is the spirit of a mother? A presence. What is the presence of a person? We say a person is a presence. Something radiates from within. Radiates, an inner concern, love, appreciation. In short, I would like to suggest to you that the Sabbath is the central issue in Judaism. The source of spiritual experience, the source of integrity of family, the individual sensitivity to what is really sublime in our existence. Now let me give you a piece of good news. I'm about to finish in another 2 or 3 minutes. Don't be too concerned. Just a few apologies. The issue is tremendously rich and cannot be exhausted in 1 hour. So I skipped a great many aspects. For example, the Sabbath has been misunderstood, has developed a certain one-sidedness and crassness, which I don't like. Has become blue, as we say in English, blue, but the real color is white, solid, friendly, and love. You shall not kindle a fire on the Sabbath, not even a fire of righteous indignation. He who is angry on the seventh day desecrates the day. Let's remember there to be Sabbath within, not only Sabbath concerning your hands and your tools. No, I certainly cannot claim to have done any justice to this great subject. I have not, for example, touched upon the major moral and social issues of the Sabbath day, which are tremendous. To my mind, the great emancipation from slavery took place at Sinai when God said everybody should observe the Sabbath, free men and slave as well. From the moment you give a slave 1 day a week of equality, you have started this emancipation. According to the Ten Commandments, the Sabbath is as important to the master as it is to the slave. So to my mind, this was the beginning of emancipation. A person who is not a slave to things of space, but knows that what is ultimately precious and joyous in the realm of time will not exploit his fellow man, will be sensitive to his fellow man. The true image of man is to be understood in time. A human being is not a piece of body in space. He is time. Time is a great mystery. The dignity of man is in his being time. Man lives in space, but he is time. Now, my friends, let me then conclude with one more statement. Of course, I spoke about the spirit of Judaism and looked for a word, suggested the word Shabbat. And let me say to you that Shabbat also is a description of the name of the seventh day, which is true and central. However, I expanded it to mean a whole attitude toward time and living, that is the sanctification of time, an awareness of the holiness of time. The seventh day itself is a palace in time which we built not of bricks, but of charm, of warmth, and of love and reverence. But the Sabbath is a lonely day among 6 vulgar days of the week can never survive. Unless there's a little bit of Shabbos on Wednesday, there will be no Shabbos on Saturday. So what is the spirit of Judaism? One word I would like to use, but the word will be in Yiddish. The spirit of Judaism is Shabbosdikkeit, that quality of Shabbos. To be Shabbosdik on the seventh day and a little bit Shabbosdik every day, that's the spirit of Judaism. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Yeah, if I may ask a question, Professor Heschel, in one of your books, Man in Search of God, it has been stated that you have accepted God purely by intuition. Do you feel this is the method of acceptance of God? I'd like you to enlarge on that.
I have never said it. I'm rather surprised to hear it. But this subject that you propose is so vast, I couldn't do justice to it just in the form of a short answer. I'm terribly sorry. It will take me to take your patience for more than an hour to listen to an initial answer. I couldn't answer that question. I've written several books on the issue. Please forgive me. Now, you have any questions? No questions. You have any answers? No answers. Are you shy? All right, the first question is always difficult. Maybe you ask me the second question. Thank you very much.